Hello everyone and welcome back to Neri Nekoma. Today's video is called It's Enough and it's a SakuAtsu one-shot. It goes more in the heart comfort kind of direction. I hope you will like it. Enjoy! The day started well enough, until it didn't. Atsumu dragged himself out of bed, tired and groggy as usual on his off days. His body was sore from a long week of hard training, perhaps a little too sore to be healthy. However, just the thought of taking it easy next week had him shudder. It felt like an invite to fall behind. With teammates like Hinata and Bokan, it was hard to keep up. He half-chuckled to himself as he imagined the faces of his overzealous friends. Each of them alone might be manageable, but together they could back him for serves endlessly. Whenever one got tired, already a rarity, the other had taken a short pause to recover. He smiled at the thought, but couldn't shake off the nagging feeling he might be left behind if he couldn't keep up with the demand. Maybe he was already in the process of falling. Every itch of pain and dull throbbing seemed accompanied by whispers following him. He wasn't enough. He hadn't trained hard enough, and now he would reach his limit long before them. He would be left behind. He sucked in a careful breath as he straightened his back and splashed his face with cold water in a desperate attempt to rid himself of the whispers. He took a quick shower, and before he even realized what he was doing, he had thrown on sweatpants, a t-shirt, a light jacket, and put on running shoes and the Genkan. A quick jog to rid himself of the insistent whispers and shake off the soreness in his muscles wouldn't hurt. He half-heartedly stretched before reaching for the door handle, an uncomfortable tightness settling in his chest. His run was slowed by a hunger for air he couldn't seem to satisfy no matter how much he breathed in. The pain didn't vanish, but his poor performance only served to steel his determination, as if he had ever listened to such minor complaints when competing with Atsumu. He pushed through, briefly feeling better when the endorphins hit. Brief, because just as he seemed to find into his usual rhythm, his phone tore him out of it again. Yeah? A little annoyed and still out of breath, he accepted the call without even checking the caller ID. For a moment, only silence greeted him. Then, a small noise that almost didn't carry through the connection made him freeze. It was just an intake of breath, but Atsumu knew it well. It was one of the little gestures of irritation he quickly learned to read from Sakusa, considering he displayed them mostly around him. A thought that tipped his world a little further out its axis. He didn't get the chance to apologize or try to play off the ragged breath still escaping his chest as tiredness or surprise. Good morning to you too. Not exactly how I expected our date to start. A lump was growing rapidly in his throat, as dread as heavy as stone seemed to sink into his stomach. Their date. He forgot. He didn't even think of checking the clock before leaving the house. He was cut off. Whether it was by the panic thinning his voice to the point it carried little sound at all, or because he suddenly hungered for air again, he wasn't sure. But Kiyomi picked up on the latter before he could prevent it. Are you exercising? It's an off day. You're not supposed to. What? No, of course not. I listen to Coach. He forced the words out casually, his sides aching. You're a horrible liar, Mio. Atsumu cursed internally and tried playing it off with a laugh as he slowly began to walk again. I just needed to move a bit. Is that a crime now? Depends. If you get injured before our next game, I'm sure at least one crime will be committed. I'm just not sure yet which of them it'll be. At that, he genuinely laughed. Oh, of them? You would spare me then? No, but I wouldn't be stupid enough to get caught. Rude. I'm your boyfriend. You're not allowed to hurt me. And you are? A little puzzled, he paused his aimless wander along the streets, his eyes inspecting his surroundings without actually searching for anything. Yeah, being cryptic again, Ami. Hardly. Not my fault you never paused to think before doing something. His voice softened as he continued, and Atsumu felt the distinct urge to run well up inside him once more. Atsu, you can't overdo it with practice. It's harmful. You'll hurt yourself. I'm not. It didn't feel like a lie. He knew what Sakusa implied, but self-harm was something much more tangible to the setter, and he could proudly say not to have even touched the silver temptation, let alone guided it over his skin. Sakusa didn't seem to share his perception, judging by the exasperated sigh. For a moment, Atsumu's brain tried to twist it into disbelief, an accusation, but he chased that away more effectively than anything else. He might be powerless to the thoughts marking himself and his failures, but he wouldn't allow anyone, let alone him, to tarnish Kiyomi's name or the image he had of him. His mind was a trap for him alone to fall into, not drag someone down with him. A silence lingered between them, heavy with everything that was left unsaid. It was like a staring battle, and Atsumu felt Sakusa silently urge him to explain himself, but didn't know to follow it. Because if he did, eventually he wouldn't be able to lie anymore, and if forced to say the truth, he'd have to admit that he did run to practice, and that his body did hurt, and that he, Miya Atsumu, their setter they were supposed to count on, had reached his limit. And that was too scary to confront, no matter how inconsequential. For now. So is the date still on, or will I have to eat brunch by myself? A vague memory of the locker rooms came to him. They were the last two there, bickering as usual, with Atsumu claiming Sakusa wasn't romantic enough, and Sakusa defending Atsumu wouldn't know actual romance and chivalry, even if it spiked him in the face with a volleyball. They agreed on a relaxed brunch date then and there, because their argument hadn't been serious to begin with, and now, 2 days later, he seemed to have lost it as he glanced at his phone in horror, realizing that he was over half an hour late. Atsumu. Real concern now underlined the ace's words, and Atsumu began to panic. Of course not. I was actually already on my way to you. We literally live in the same share house. Now come back, or I'll drag you here. Maybe I was getting something for you. The idea came to him as he passed a flower shop and stopped quickly. He could have slapped himself for not thinking of this excuse before. I'll be there in a minute. He hung up before the spiker could stop him, now faced with the difficult decision of which flowers Sakusa would appreciate. He rushed back, the bouquet clutched tightly in his hands. The only flowers he recognized were the spider lilies in their vibrant red, but he believed the shop owner said something about dahlias or ivy as well. He only registered the deep reds, hoping they would convey love without having to resort to roses. Something about the delicate lilies with their ominously thin petals stretching in delicate curves upwards and downwards at the sides reminded him of Kiyomi. They were gorgeous and elegant in a strange kind of way, mystical and unapproachable on the first glance, causing a feeling of caution in some, while being too beautiful not to behold. He hoped Sakusa would like them. Doubts invaded his mind as he reached the ace's door out of breath. He remembered his apartment, clean and spotless as always, in a natural and muted color scheme. It felt almost wrong to fill it with the lively flowers that couldn't simply be disinfected. He was still trapped overthinking when the door swung open. Time seemed to freeze as the dark eyes, the color of ink, found his and then the flowers. Mild surprise flashed over Sakusa's face as he inspected them, and Atsumu's hands began to tremble. Sorry, I wasn't sure you'd like. He felt so stupid, so foolish not to have considered something so crucial as Sakusa's disdain to any mess and uncleanliness, but the raven gave no indication of offense. He reached out for the flowers and gently took them from Atsumu's hands as if they were fragile and precious. They're gorgeous. Thank you. Without another word or addressing any of Atsumu's unspoken concerns, the ace turned around and led the way inside, the flowers in hand. Atsumu watched him stunned as he followed. Every obstacle he had imagined to be blocking the path mercilessly seemed non-existent in Sakusa's actions. Are you coming in? He hastily nodded, biting his tongue not to let the pain sound slip as he strained his sore muscles too rapidly once more. When he turned to the kitchen, Sakusa observed him with a slight frown on his face, a vase in one hand and the flowers in the other. Before he could voice the question Atsumu dreaded he would, the setter quickly moved to help him as to avoid it. Here, I'll take that. With a grin, he took the vase to fill it with water, though judging by the eyebrows Sakusa raised in response, he hadn't been successful in playing it off as natural. It disoriented him further, and when a few droplets of water spilled to the side, he cursed, trying to wipe them away quickly from Sakusa's spotless counters and floors. The vase threatened to fall, and in his panic he didn't know what to do when suddenly, long pale fingers steadied it, pushed it back, and then moved his hand, which was still trembling as he stood frozen in his desperate attempt to fix everything. Atsu. I'm sorry. What for? Sakusa gently placed the flowers in the only half-filled vase before lending his full attention to his setter. He produced a tissue from his pocket and carefully dabbed at his face to soak up the tears Atsumu hadn't realized had begun falling. I'm a mess. And he let his thumb roam over Atsumu's cheek, tracing the reddened skin and soothing the tracks the tears had burnt into it. You don't like messes. A small chuckle resonated in the raven's chest, and he took Atsumu's hand to gently guide him to his kitchen table where he had prepared brunch for them. You are so much more than a mess, Tsumu, and I don't mind it. I love you, chaos and all. Atsumu sniffed, and he turned his head slightly in disbelief. As if to prove him wrong, Sakusa wiped his face clean once more and leaned in to place a tender kiss on his cheek. What brought this on, love? Is it a bad day? Atsumu shrugged his shoulders, but failed to keep the reaction off his face as a dull pain shot through them. And of course, Kiyomi noticed and inspected him more closely. You overdid it, didn't you? Shokan and Bo kept asking for tasks. I had to keep up with them. He answered him defiantly, which only earned him an unimpressed expression in response, and a sigh. He didn't understand what Sakusa was doing when he pulled out his phone, and even less when he heard his voice answered. Yes? He sounded groggy and tired. Have you slept until now? Wait, Sakusa? Hinata's voice was filled with shocked surprise, and suddenly there was a low thud that sounded like it hurt. A low groan carried through the speaker. Overdone it last week? Nah, he did. Kagema's voice echoed from somewhere in the back as he came closer, probably to check up on the spiker, who sounded like he had just fallen out of bed. Shut up, Bakayama, as if you're any better at this than I am. Atsumu felt the corners of his lips tug up in a smile as he heard the familiar bickering of his teammate and his partner. It was comforting, and when he looked up, he saw Sakusa reciprocate a smile, which made his cheek warm suddenly. Thanks, Hinata. That was all I needed. Wait, what? Take the day to recover, or Atsumu sets will all be mine on Monday. Not fair, Omi-kun. But Sakusa had hung up already before Hinata could fall into a tirade of protest. Poor Shouyo's probably really confused right now. Sakusa shrugged his shoulders in indifference, but the hints of the previous smile still lingered on his lips. I just had to show you what an idiot you are, Mia. Hey, you are not falling behind, and you need to rest in between. We all need to, even Hinata and Bokuto. His protest was swallowed by Sakusa's lips on his, and he felt the heat in his cheeks rise even further. When they separated, he grinned. You know, I'm not too tired for some fun. Sakusa rolled his eyes and flicked his forehead. Ouch, Ami, why eat? You promised me a brunch date. Atsumu laughed, his heart swelling with love as he watched Sakusa add the flowers to the table and sat down opposite to him. And for now, his mind was silent. Thank you so much for watching to the end, it really means a lot to me. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. I really hope you did. I really love this ship so much, and I know you do too, so I hope you enjoyed the story. There are a couple new things. This is the first video I did on a new laptop, and I upgraded my program. So I still need to figure out the details. Give me some feedbacks in the comments if the quality was up to my usual standard. That would help me out greatly. Also, tell me under the pinned comment what your favorite code was. A special thanks goes out to my nerdy Nekos, they are the absolute best. Special thanks to Air, Jesper, Yellow Oreos, James, Jasmine, Lorraine, Kylie, Bailey, Star, Mohana, Jelly, and Miriam, who joined just recently. Thank you so much. We have over 50 channel members now, which is absolutely incredible. Your support makes this whole thing possible. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy your early access. And now, here's more content. Check it out if you like, and I hope you all have a wonderful and amazing day.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.